Hey, welcome to day 47 of my spiritual journal with me, with your soul sister, Iona, founder of the SoulLegacyAcademy.com, goodness, and host of the Soul Legacy TV YouTube podcast. So if you are not subscribed to the YouTube channel, then feel free to subscribe, like this video, share it out, and click the bell to get notified of when I go live daily on my daily vlog. So today in my spiritual journal, in my world, is Relationship Freedom Fridays. I have to say it's one of my favorite days. Doing these daily vlogs, sharing my light work, sharing how you can have spiritual business success without being busy, without being broke, and without experiencing burnout, because who wants that? And having that light work and lifestyle balance. So if that is all, if you're all about that, then great, stick with me and journal with me. Grab something to journal in. This journal is called the Soul Legacy Journal. It's actually my notebook. Say it's 365 days of your spiritual awakening story, a co-created soul path to spiritual alchemy for lightworkers, alchemizing every single area of your life and your relationships. I believe are at the core of the relationship with yourself, the relationship that you have with the universe, the relationship that you have in each area of your life, and the guidance relationship that you have with your guides, relationship that you have with your angels, archangels, whatever. And I will be pulling this card at the end, a card from Keepers of the Light. I do share every single day, and it just fuels me. Relationships in general, I will be sharing what I put into my spiritual journal with you. Hey love, hey Robin. So we have Robin not live with us on the YouTube channel. So if you're watching this or listening to this somewhere else, like in the Soul Legacy Academy, then you can come on to the daily lives. I have a playlist where you can join me. I love that you show up, Robin. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So Robin is our lead soul guided instructor for the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network and for the Soul Legacy Academy. So if you have a soul-based business and you want to grow your soul-based business with your YouTube channel, and you know, you have a movement inside of you, and you want some clarity on your message and just being in alignment with the money that you want to manifest, then you're in the right place. So Robin talks about energy healing, Reiki, chakras, lots of different things with anything to do with energy, basically energy and healing and self-healing and self-love. And so my live, I wouldn't even say it's later, because I just do it at random times. But today, just before this live, Robin's Knots Challenge was live, so it was absolutely amazing. It's a 5-day challenge, a 5-day money blocks clearing challenge, to heal our relationship with money, and just to understand the relationship with money. Just a really great awareness. We had Robin had a great bunch of people on there, and all of us were just so grateful that we were all together in this space. It was just really beautiful. And so that 5-day money blocks clearing challenge is available on self-study. Now it was done for the first time live, and then it'll be self-study. It's $33, and it's a 5-day money blocks clearing challenge, but it's a journey of self-love to financial freedom. And I talk about financial freedom on Sundays, and Robin and I have realized that the work that we do just it just entwines, I would say, so beautifully. So I'll share more about the relationship with money as we go through a little bit today, because it's beautiful, and that's what I teach, right? So doing a 7-day challenge on your YouTube channel, if you want to, if you're not sure how to build your YouTube channel, how to have those relationships with your soul tribe, Robin's done a beautiful job of creating a 7-day challenge. It's 7 days to unblock your chakras, And then Robin also has a similar daily vlog, energy healing lifestyle vlog, to share every single day about your chakras. And again, I'll talk about that. Share about your energy, right? Unblocking your chakras, what that looks like, what when your chakras blocked, what symptoms you have. And I say all of that because your relationship with you is the relationship of that self-love, and just not blocking it really, but the relationships that you've had in the past. And I talked about this a little bit yesterday, of what happened to you in your life, where you were, the environment that you've grown up in, the people that you have around you, the light work that you do, the lifestyle that you have impacts your energy, impacts you energetically. And I talk about this every single day, about raising your vibration. Robin says, thank you, beautiful, you're welcome. Raising your vibration to have that, what I call cheers to financial freedom. And so having your relationship with money, let me know what your relationship with money is like. We'll talk about it more as I share what I do and how I can support you. Because if you have money blocks, which a lot of the people that I work with and have worked with do, it impacts. And when you think about relationships, romantic relationships, relationships with children, if you have them, grandchildren, parents, siblings, friends, the relationship that you have with everyone is impacted through money. So on the SoulLegacyTV, I talk about financial freedom on a Sunday, but I also talk about different areas of your life throughout the week. And so today is the Relationship Freedom Friday, but if I back up to Mondays, we talk about contribution, the relationships where you're contributing. So your soul clients, soul family, and soul tribe, they're interchangeable. And then you look, and then finances on a Sunday. On a Tuesday, it's health freedom. On a Wednesday, it's emotional freedom. On Thursdays, it's environmental freedom. Today's Relationship Freedom Friday. Saturday, spiritual freedom. And then financial freedom. So I like to look at relationships and my relationship with my own health, myself, my body, my emotions. If I'm treating my body a certain way because I'm stuffing down emotions, or if I'm stressed out, if I'm fearful, it's managing your vibration, knowing what's draining you and what's serving you. The relationships that you have in life really start with how you are with you, setting those boundaries, teaching people how to treat you, knowing how to treat yourself. And it just plays out so beautifully in life if you allow it. So as a light worker, how are you doing your light work in the world? Are you doing it to the fullest? Are you showing up, speaking out, and serving deep? Are you building the relationship with your soul tribe? Are you growing your spiritual business? Or are you hiding behind closed doors with feeling imperfect and thinking that you've got to be perfect? Or are you procrastinating? It shows up. All of the freedoms, the 7 freedoms frequency, I like to say, impact every single area. And so when we think of relationships and money, we think of date nights. So I went out, I was saying yesterday on my live on environmental freedom, that my daughter and my soul daughter and her friend were singing in the background, and they were upstairs doing karaoke in my daughter's bedroom. She's 19, so they were loud and it was fun. And then they asked me to do the judging of them, and like, dude, those relationships is just magical for me. And in the end, they were like, yeah, come on, we're gonna go out. And I'm like, I'm not got you guys go. They're like, no, they call me mumsy. Come on, bloody, we are going out. So I ended up going out. I've had a hangover today. My mouth actually hurts. So we're just loud and Larry, and everybody was on the dance floor. We had a dance and jig and all of the things. And when I was out, actually, I saw someone who knew my son. So if you don't know, my son made his transition again, relationships, almost 7 years ago. And I saw someone, and I needed to go over and speak to that person, not in a loud and loud way, but it didn't go down well with my daughter, because obviously it's going to be upsetting. And so I had to own that is what was right for me, even though it wasn't right for someone else, and respect that and respect my decision. And I think when you are aware of your own relationships and the freedom that you have to speak your own truth and decide what you're going to do, when you're going to do, and it does impact others, but also staying true to yourself, I think is massive. But I had my soul daughter pass on news that an old relationship of mine, that person got engaged, and my soul daughter was like, oh, like, not, are you okay? She knows I'm okay, but just like, what do you think? And I'm like, I'm not attached to that, because it's an old relationship. And I sat both my daughter and my soul daughter down, and I said, this is, if I teach you one thing, this is what I want to teach you. When you make a decision, mean it. If you're in a relationship and it's not working, or it's not right for you, you don't feel like it's right for you, make a decision. Don't make a decision and then have a regret. Like, why would I be upset? Why would I be attached to something when that isn't for me? I made that decision that is not for me. That is not what, no longer for me. It's no longer serving me or that other person. And I think it's huge. And I think that's with any relationship, with soul clients, with family, blood family, what have you. I'm a very big believer in doing what supports you to live your highest self. And unfortunately, sometimes it might be a spouse, and a lot of people grow and their spouse doesn't and want to grow, or doesn't grow to the level that they're growing, and it causes friction. And so I'm creating a spiritual dating TV YouTube channel for that reason, to talk about it. Because yesterday I talked about environmental freedom, and I see your comment, Rowan. Yesterday I was talking about environmental freedom and the book that I was reading by Oprah Winfrey and Bruce Perry, saying what happened to you, and the examples that they used of children in that had parents that had been divorced, and how that impacted, and that trauma and all of those things. And so for me, it's really important to do good for myself, and to, the more I learn about relationships, I haven't really seen really healthy relationships, so I didn't know what that was. And the last relationship that I had was healthy for me, healthy for him as well, and we've both come out of it not broken, not like you know, wanting to destroy each other and things like that. Like, you know, that's it. We had that time and it was beautiful and it lasted, and it's beautiful now it isn't. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I said to them, if I can share just that one thing, I am a role model for them, and they watch how I move, and they watch how people move that have come into our life, and why they've moved out of our life, or why they've been invited to move out of our life and move on, pass on, and take the lessons and take the love that we had, and use that, do you know what I mean, and fuel that and be grateful for that, and all of the memories and all of the things. I haven't got every single relationship right, romantic relationship. And so for me, really, I'm really focusing on that, of making decisions that serve me. And especially with dating, I've been very vigilant. And so the spiritual dating, whether you're in a relationship or not, or if you're single, just dating yourself, right? So I'm calling it Spiritual Dating TV, Awakened Soulmates Marriage TV, because I'm dating for marriage. Like, I like, you know, in a past relationship, and then it's like, okay, you're ready to get married. Like, good for you. Like, when that comes, for me, it will be based on compatibility, not on going out there catching feelings. It's so easy to go out there, catch feelings for a bunch of people really quickly. Does that happen to you? Do you fall really quickly and then go, oh, I just had this conversation actually. And you fall really quickly, know yourself, but you still do it anyway, right? It's not helpful. It's not helpful to you, when you're a light worker doing your best work, the relationship that you're in and the relationships that you have around you impacts your message, your movement, and your money. The energy that you have around you is massive. And so my spiritual journal and my spiritual rituals and routines help me. This is Relationship Freedom Friday, because I get to plan out my date nights, do some stuff that's spontaneous, get to have a look at my relationships with my light work, with my soul clients, with my soul tribe, with myself. There's not that many people that will be doing that. I talk about intentional living every single day. In fact, I don't know anyone. I made it up, right? This system is about intentional living, and I call them the 7 freedoms, and we visit a freedom every single day. But relationships, obviously, all of them, we visit them every day, reflect on the last week, rate how we feel, how high vibe we feel, which I feel like an 11 in my relationships. Even when there's a hard truth or a hard lesson, or there's raised voices, or somebody's upset, there's still so much love there. It doesn't matter. Like, we're secure, and I'm talking about my soul daughters, we're secure in our relationships. We talk things out. Do you know what I mean? You wake up the next day and you're talking things out. There's no bad feeling and no animosity and all of those things. It might take a minute sometimes, but it's beautiful. And I invite you to do it. I'd love to hear how your relationship is with yourself. What spiritual rituals and routines do you have? Rob Brun says, I'm sorry, but that's craziness. I'm glad you're not attached or bothered by it, but good word. Yeah. I love your perspective. Oh, thank you. I'm not sure on what, but yeah, I'm like, it doesn't so we can be put. So the Soul Legacy TV and the Soul Legacy Academy is about soul. We know that we're souls having a human experience. However, we get caught up in the human experience because we've incarnated here on earth to have a human experience. That's fine. But when we come at it live, our light work and our lifestyle from that lens, and I do that because I literally feel like, you know, sitting back and witnessing. I'll talk about the book, The Untethered Soul, that we talk about for spiritual freedom, tomorrow. Looking at that soul awareness, I call it. And the way that I describe this in my vision board challenge, I've got a 7-day spiritual vision board challenge. So if you want to learn more about each area and set a vision for that, and how they can work in balance and how they can work in harmony, then I will leave the link and the cards for you in the description, because it's so powerful. Living it, it just feel, that's my perspective, and I talk about it a lot. And it helps. It really helps. It's helped me. It's helped the people that I teach, and Robin's on here with me. Your rating. So, Robin, what is your rating for your relationship freedom today, Friday, with the Soul Legacy Journal? And I have a 2-hour monthly call to coach you through all of the 7 freedoms. If you're watching in the Soul Legacy Academy, or you want to, then hit me up and I'll let you know. My masterclass, it's called the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass, Bank 50k in 50 days, and I'll teach you how to speak to your soul clients, how to serve them, and how to sign them up and enroll them in your spiritual business. And the Bank 50k in 50 days challenge is about building a spiritual business model that can have that container, and so you can build those relationships with your tribe to have that ease, grace, and flow. So my relationship freedom rating is definitely 11. I liken the rating, when we rate, it's not always the physical for me that helps me determine how I feel about my life, or in that moment where I'm pushed and pulled, or something's gone wrong today, so now I feel like, so say yesterday, look, like, one, I could have been disrupted by that news. I laughed, because I recognise that there's patterns there, and you just learn the hard way sometimes. Hopefully we don't, but sometimes we do. And I'm trying to choose better for me. So it made me laugh because we went fast, and it felt like we were going slow, but we did go fast. I don't regret it. I'm so happy and grateful that I've had that experience, and I'm so glad and happy what I took from it. So when I rate my relationship, that could have been disruptive to my energy, to my vibe, my flow, how it info, how I say soul funk and soul flow. So I could have been in soul funk about it. When we went out, you know, I could have been disrupted. It doesn't make sense to me to spiral my whole, like, all of my relationships are bad now. Like, I feel rubbish. The beauty of doing the Spiritual Vision Board Challenge and being in the Soul Legacy Academy, I teach this, the Soul Legacy Wheel, is because we isolate, and having these 7 days, we isolate your areas of your life, although they are not isolated, they bleed into each other. But we isolate them, break them down, see that particular area for what it is, make a decision and set soul intentions around it, and set energy and momentum around it. Know that it's within the bigger picture of your life. However, say if your relationships were going one way, but then your finances are going great, or vice versa, you know, you don't feel like, oh gosh, my whole life is a mess. It's like, no, I've got to just work on my relationships. That's it. So it gives you that freedom when you are using the Soul Legacy Journal and those spiritual rituals and routines to rate how you feel about each area. It's beautiful. It's just it raises your vibration in all of the areas. So Robin says, so when we say Relationship Freedom Friday, we do the abbreviation for RFF equals. And so what does that equal? So Robin's just said a 10. I literally, my mouth, oh my gosh, I have no idea. I might have bitten my tongue, so it's painful. So thank you, Robin, for sharing your rating. And how do you feel? So it's Relationship Freedom Friday. So how do you feel? Because we talk about emotional freedom. How do you feel about your rating? Because we rate ourselves each day out of 1 to 11. You don't get a 0 because you're breathing, right? You don't. I'm really a stickler for that. We don't get a 0. You don't rate life at 0. You don't rate relationships at 0. You just don't get to do that. You're here, you're breathing. So if you're watching this, you're good, right? You've got internet connection, right? So I'm just saying, you don't get 1. And you've got me right here sharing with you. So there's gratitude for YouTube. So, and the relationship that you can build online. So how do you feel about your relationships? And if you have been tracking with me for a while, I won't know necessarily. Robin has. What was it last week? If you've just started today, then okay. Then what do you want it to be next week? So we're in the middle, as Robin said, at that pivotal point. So what went on over the last week? Robin, you don't have to answer all these questions. But what went on over the last week? Answer what you'll add in what you like. To raise your vibration. What area was it? Soul clients, soul family, soul tribe. As I say soul client income, soul tribe impact, soul family influence, and soul tribe impact. For me, that's living your legacy. And I want to read the back of this spiritual journal, my Soul Legacy journal. And this is my quote inspired by Maya Angelou and Oprah. So your soul legacy is every life you impact, influence, or impress upon, and every soul client, soul family, and soul tribe you touch. Soul expansion begins with you. And so relationships are at the core of everything. So what did you physically do in your physical, visible humanness, in your visible world, and what did you do energetically as well to raise your vibration, to get it to be at that level? So I don't know, Robin, can you remember your rating from last week? Obviously I can, because then I go back on my pages. I have a feeling it was 11, to be fair, for me, because I'm just really being very intentional. Mine was an 11. So that's great. It doesn't have to be an 11. The idea is not oh, well, so for me with this spiritual dating, I'm not with anyone, I'm single. So I'm talking to someone. I don't have to be in a relationship to be happy about my relationships, if that makes sense. I'm already happy. I'm already vibing at the level of relationship and love for myself and for my husband, whether I know him or not. Do you know what I mean? So for the level of soul tribe, I'm talking on this YouTube video. Robin is on here. I'm speaking to Robin. I'm speaking to you. And I'm speaking to the next person, the next person, and the next person. I don't know who will watch this. I might not know you yet, but that's a relationship that I set that intention. My spiritual business is ready to receive you when you are ready. That's a relationship that I wanted to cultivate soul to soul. So I send out that energy and I'm speaking to my soul tribe. I'm building my movement and I've scheduled out my business. I leverage everything so that I can have these relationships, so that I can host the Spiritual Awakening annual YouTube summit, so that I can have co-authors in my book, in the Soul Legacy Journal, Spiritual Awakening Stories of 365. I'm speaking as if. Anyway, and when I look back, right, over the next 7 years and beyond, it's like, oh, that's where it started. Why did it start that way? Because I spoke that way and I'm not believing anything else different, right? It's setting that intention, becoming the version of you that's speaking to your soul clients and speaking to your soul tribe. Robin says, I don't remember offhand. I need to write them down. Oh, have you not been writing them down, love? Yeah, it's really handy. So when you write them down, so just to give you a little bit of a backstory, when we did the spiritual vision board challenge, so when we rate ourselves, the idea, the concept of the Cheers to Financial Freedom frequency and rising and residing at that level, you go up and down, is rating between 1 and 11 every single day. And then at the end of the week on Sunday, when we play the vibrational money voucher game, we rate and see where we are at with every single area. So you can get a score. So it's a game, playing the soul income game. Your income can only grow to the extent that you do, according to T. Harv Eker, which I really resonate with that quote. And your net worth can only grow, will never exceed your self-image. That's a quote by Robin Sharma. So your self-image, you're growing in up the image of yourself through the spiritual vision board every single day. So at the end of the week, we see, oh, well, I was 11 here, I was maybe a 2 here, or what have you. And then we add up the scores and see it's a score out of 77. So with the Soul Legacy wheel, it's a wheel and it's segmented with these 7 areas that I keep talking about. Contribution freedom, health freedom, emotional freedom, environmental freedom, spiritual freedom, and financial freedom. So these 7 areas on that wheel. And so the wheel of life has you rate from a 0 to 10 on what your life, how fulfilled you feel. So the idea, once you've actually filled out this wheel and you've connected the dots, is would this wheel run down the road like a bicycle wheel? Would it be bumpy? So for the Soul Legacy wheel, it's how vibration in that harmony, how your frequency. So the wheel has the world in the middle, that you then raise your vibration to not look at and be attached to the humanness, to the physical world, and you raise your vibration, that soul awareness. And then on the outer rim, there's a dark ring, and that is your spiritual awakening. Once you're through that barrier, life, the world doesn't look and feel the same. You don't get pushed and pulled by life the way that you would have you not been aware. So we talk about spiritual awakening. That's why it's your spiritual awakening story, spiritual ascension, and then spiritual alchemy. So your spiritual ascension journey is this. And for the spiritual awakening, I have the YouTube Summit, the #1 spiritual awakening annual YouTube Summit, and the co-author book series. Spiritual ascension journey for me is this in the Soul Legacy Academy. And then when you're alchemizing your spiritual alchemy, we have the spiritual alchemy giveaway, where my guests on the channel, on the YouTube podcast, will give their gifts to the spiritual alchemy giveaway, and we have the spiritual ascension after show. So I'm really excited to just lean into that, to just, it's just really, really beautiful. And the higher level, when we were on the Soul Legacy wheel, then we have stars around for each area, and the stars represent the visual images in the Soul Legacy Academy, and I share it on the Spiritual Vision Board Challenge if you want to have a look at it. And the stars are North stars, and they have an 11 in there. That's spiritual gateway. That's your higher self. So there's an aspect of you here on the physical, but we know that our soul's having a human experience, and there's that relationship with our soul self, right? So I think it's really beautiful. I was downloaded the idea, and I ran with it, and it's developed, and it's still developing. It's just amazing. So when we write them down, we get to score out of 77, so you can actually track like a heartbeat, right? You can see the rhythm of your own life and the harmony that you're in, and the vibration that you're emitting in the world, because we're a collective, and you being responsible for the relationship with you means that you get to impact people on a greater level with your movement, your message, and your money. All right, does that make sense, Robin? Does that make sense? Right, so spiritual I wanted to talk about vision, which I've done. I wanted to talk about values, which I've done. What are your biggest values in your relationships? Your vibration. One of the things I use for my spiritual rituals and routines is gratitude. My daughter gave me that when she was little. And I say gratitude. I'm happy and I'm grateful for. And I am happy and I'm grateful for, and I appreciate. And the things that you're happy and grateful and appreciate in the past, that's why I'm not attached to when somebody says certain things to me about past relationships and things. I'm like, that's great. Past, present, and predicted. So I've already said thanks in advance to my husband for how amazing he is. I have my love list. I had a love list prior to meeting my ex, who I believe was my twin flame. And so that's why I don't regret it, because it's helped me grow to like the nth degree. I have a love list. I've updated my love list. I have a relationship with my love list, and I have a relationship with my husband on the love list, and nothing else will do. So I trust myself in my relationships too, and I trust that the universe is bringing me that guy. And every person that I've spoken to, I can feel it a little bit. It's getting a little bit clearer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer, and I've loved it. But I am being very vigilant, so I'm happy. Robin says it absolutely makes sense. I hope it does, because I ramble about it every day. It's a bit tough now, right? If it doesn't, because this is it. It's that light work and lifestyle balance. And the idea is to have that spiritual business success, grow your spiritual business with YouTube, right? However, a lot of YouTubers, you'll hear this, you might have heard this already, but now it's in your awareness. A lot of YouTubers end up being burnt out or like hooked to their YouTube channel, and their mental health suffers. Not a lot. I don't know how many. I'm not saying everybody, you know, I love the platform. But to have to build, I was aware that I wanted to have that light work and lifestyle balance. I didn't want to be on all the socials again. That's relationships. And I've heard YouTubers say in this last week about unplugging from social media, and they have, and it's feeding me. The YouTube is obviously feeding me. The algorithm's feeding me more of what I've been watching, right? And just making a decision to not be on the socials, to talking to people who don't care about you, who don't care about your life, and you are caring about other people's lives enough to absorb in your head without getting on with your own life. So the intentional living, these 7 freedoms, is a way to just mind your own business, get on with your own life, and actually set your intentions and just focus, and stop saying I don't have time we do have time. Stop saying I don't have the energy and I don't have the money. Get off the socials, and then let's raise our vibration. Be at that level that we want to witness in the world, because I think it's just beautiful. So that is my thing. So if you're in soul funk at any point in the week, and how can you get into soul flow, the book that I listened to was The 5 Love Languages for Singles. There's the 5 Love Languages for children, teenagers, men, and couples. I've read them all by a guy called Dr. Gary Chapman. Today was gifts as a love language. Do you know your love language? Have you ever taken the love language test? Mine is quality time and words, then physical touch, then acts of service, and then gifts. So my gifts is at 0. So, you know, don't rush and buy me gifts. I received them and I'm grateful for them, but that is not, I'd rather hang out and spend some time with you. It's quality time. He was saying about, if your love language is gifts, not to dismiss gifts, because I've been given gifts and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, I've loved it. But it's easy to not buy the right gift for me, and I look like I'm a really ungrateful person. I do, I know I do. And if your love language is gifts, what I've said would have already been like, oh, really? I'm sorry, not sorry. But I respect that everybody has their love languages. I personally was like, that's really superficial, but it's not. It's that, it's the meaning behind it, and I'm learning that. But my soul tribe, in all honesty, their love language is quality time and words. And if it's physical touch, when we get to a retreat, it's gonna be lit. I'm a hugger, and acts of service, really doing things, you know, serving on a big scale. Gifts might be, but if somebody's going to resonate with me, I put out my business model in the terms of hanging out and sharing quality time, and in that having excuse me, quality conversations, because I know my soul tribe, and not loving being on the socials having superficial conversations about nothing really. And I did say to my soul daughter, I'm not on the socials. I don't need an update. I'm not connected to that person anymore. I don't need to be. Robin says, "Got to run. Love you, beautiful. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for being you. Thank you, love." So yeah, gifts. In Robin's, so that's what he was saying with the 5 Love Languages book, of if the love language is, so if your love language is gifts, and you are, and somebody buys, so if you're a guy, woman, dating, say, and you're giving somebody a gift, and it's kind of like to cover up something that you've done, or as a sorry, it's not the same as thinking of someone and thinking what they need or what they've mentioned and buying a gift. So I like the thoughtfulness of it. So if you don't know the 5 love languages, they are words of affirmation, no particular order, words of affirmation, physical touch, acts of service, quality time, and gifts. Right? Was that right? Yeah, gifts, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, and I don't know. So what did I say them all? I don't know. But anyway, there's 5. So acts of service. So I'm gonna pull the card, or share with you the card that I pulled in Robin Knott's world. In our world, it is to help us with our spiritual rituals and routines. Robin focuses on energy and chakras, so that is what she did today. It was day 5 of the Money Blocks Clearing Challenge, and just being aware that the money stories that we've told and the impact, and it wasn't actually ending up being necessarily about the money, it was about the experiences that we all had. It was really great, really insightful. So there's and I'm gonna Robin's gone. Oh, Robin, you come back on the replay, you might. But I was doing some recording today. Just, my mouth hurts so much. Doing some random recording today, and I was like, I would love to use what Robin does for my 7 freedoms and clearing that as a bonus for my students. So if you would love that, let me know, and I'll try and convince Robin to do it with me as a masterclass, because the 7 freedoms when we're thinking of setting our intentions for our spiritual vision board, I know that for me, I'm living my best life. I'm being in alignment with my vision and, you know, raising my vibration. That's the whole point. But not thinking of just the end goal. Oh, do you know what? I've got loads to share with you. Just a second. About that energy. And yeah. So it's chakra. So the chakra that Robin focuses on today to clear it, unblock it, is throat chakra healing Fridays, sorry. And the crystal that I bought, some chakra crystals, I keep showing the pouch and I don't know if you can see those, is, I can't say it, it's this one. It's a blue one. I think it's called Lap Lucy or Lap, I don't know. Anyway, and today is about truth, awareness and wisdom. Yay. The card that I've pulled is actually a really great card for that as well. So if you're interested in clearing your chakras and unblocking your chakras and having them remove those money blocks and remove the energy, as Robin says, you know, all of your, if you've got money blocks, all it's impacting all of your chakras. And if you have a vision to be in service and do all the things, you've probably got blocks and stories around some of the things, otherwise you'd be manifesting them. I'm going to give a quote and then I'm going to pull a card. Before I do, oh gosh, I'll go for a fly. Before I do, I was listening to Bob Proctor, the late Bob Proctor, who's been interviewed by Lewis Howes, and he said so much, and I made a couple of notes, and he says, oh gosh, what came to mind is, he says about your imagination, sorry, excuse me. He said about your imagination, using your imagination. So obviously for a vision board, you're imagining. And Lewis Howes, I think it's one of the best interviews actually that I've seen with Lewis Howes and Bob Proctor. And he says about your imagination, and he says it's a frequency, it's a place. I mean, you think about something, there's a thought, what you want to manifest is the thought, that's a place, and you need to be at that frequency, obviously, like meeting the frequency, like underneath the law of attraction is the law of vibration. That's what I teach, right? And I got that from listening to Bob Proctor. And he says, your goal is not something to work on, you work in it. You work within it. It's already done and you're working within it. It's beautiful. He says the idea that you have is on an emotional level, an emotional idea, an intellectual idea, an emotional idea. And there's a gestational period till that idea, that emotional and that intellectual idea comes into physical form and people give up. And he said this persistence is one of the greatest things. And I feel like that's what people don't always want to do, have that persistence. And he says that, you know, we know the gestational period of a baby, of a carrot or whatever, but we don't know the gestational period of an idea, but it will come into physical form. And I love that. That's just to trust that if it's on your vision board and you're visualizing, just get to that place of being it now, like living from it now. And so he was talking about repetition and persistence and repetition being the key. And he said that he used to write his goals down on a card, and it was that repetition, that persistence of what people like quit ahead of time, before the time that it's come into physical form. And I was thinking about the spiritual journal with me every single day, my spiritual rituals and routines. It's giving you a space to have that repetition. And Lewis Howes said that he'd interviewed, I believe it was Dr. Joe Dispenza who he was referring to, and he said that people think of the memories of the past and let it rule their future, like rule their now. And Dr. Joe Dispenza said what we need to be is attached is the memories of the future, meaning like making that mean more than the past. So that's why I'm not attached to a past relationship or a past experience, because it was past. I'm grateful I'm having the relationship with my husband. Like, I don't feel lonely. I don't need to think about, God, I don't even know. Wow. I don't need to think about that past relationship. I just take from it who I am and who I want to be, and being an even better version of me. Because yes, that is possible, right? Even though we might think, well, I'm great in that relationship, I did it, we're all growing. So I'm living from that space. I'm engaged in my mind. So even though people might not see it, well, don't see it. I see it. Do you know what I mean? You can tell how believable I think. It's like, even though people might not see it, well, they can't see it because it's not in physical form, but it's in my intellectual idea, and my emotional idea is done. So he says that we're a product of our environment. So I wrote notes down. I was just listening. I was chilling. I had hangover today, and I was just chilling out. And I was listening. It was like a 2 hour or something, I don't know, interview. It was really good. So a product of our environment and our DNA. And he said basically it's a paradigm. So again, our environment, where we are now, where we grew up, we're a product of that. So he was saying that Bob Proctor used an example of, he asked Lewis Howes, can you speak another language? And he's like, no, I can just speak English. And he said, maybe can I? And he said, but when he went to somewhere or the other, it was common for a 4-year-old to be able to speak like 4 languages or something like that. It's like, if you were, that's nothing to them. Do you know what I mean? It's somewhere where somebody's got a dual language or 4 languages or more. I love that. So we are a product of our environment. I'm going to share more. Bob Proctor was talking about how the 95% of us or more in the world struggle. We struggle. And he said that he changed his thoughts and relationship with money when he came into his joint vision partnership with his business partner. But he first learned about these kinds of principles when he was 26 years old. At the time of this interview, he was 86. So like 60 years learning the repetition of that. I mean, he said, if you, like, some people have a goal to be a billionaire, that wasn't his focus. But he set a goal to earn 100 million, and he said it's done in his mind. He hadn't got there at that point of the interview, but it's done in his mind. I love that. I had another couple of notes. Let me see if I can just pull them in. He says about your self-image, your self-esteem, and I think that was it. One of the things that I want to say, so he says, that was it. Lewis Howes, I was asking him questions about, people and their habits, why people find it so hard, and he says, like watching TV or doing whatever, getting sucked in to noise. And he said sometimes it is that you would, if you have a bad habit, negative habit, whatever, then stopping that habit, letting go of that habit, but also doing a good habit, replacing it with a good habit as well. So now you're releasing that resistance, and you're adding that momentum and that allowing, which is beautiful. He talked about having a poverty consciousness versus a prosperity consciousness. And I think I might have heard this from Bob Proctor as well, and that's what I teach as well. I bought a prosperity program years ago, and in the box program, that's how I started out. And I was going to write a book called The Prosperity Code, A to Z Keys to Manifesting Soul Satisfying Prosperity. Never wrote the book, but I figured it out. And so, and this is this, right? That was this in this form. I don't even, do you know what? That's really distracting me. I'm on tiny fly. Anyway, that's that natural reaction to do that as well, isn't it? Yeah, and he says, if you're in relationships, so Lewis Howes said, what about money and relationships? And he said, if you're in a relationship and you both have a different paradigm, or one has a poverty consciousness versus prosperity consciousness, it's really, you've got problems there. And I have a prosperity consciousness. And so my husband also has a prosperity consciousness. I'm just saying, because I haven't had that in any of my relationships as yet. romantic relationships. So I'm really looking forward to having that as I grow mine. So the Bank 50K in 50 Days challenge, we do this vibrationally. First, the Soul Legacy journal. This journal gives you £1,000, dollars, or euros every single day. And you get to spend it on your vision board, on your experiences every single day if you choose to, vibrationally. And then I will show you on the masterclass, on the Spiritual Biz YouTubers masterclass, how to speak to, serve, and sign up your soul clients so that you can build a business model where you can receive passive income and active income. So Robin did her 5-day challenge. So while I didn't teach her what was in her challenge, because that's her area of expertise, but I help you to draw that out, right? So Robin is the lead soul guided instructor in the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network and the Soul Legacy Academy, because she's going through all of that material and my teachings, my tasks, and my talks. And we're soul sisters with a joint vision. So we've elevated our relationship to really bring in that collective energy for our soul tribe. I have the Soul Legacy movement. Robin has this self-love movement. And watching that today, watching how she's put together a 5-day challenge, and from birthing it from idea to actually people on and just really enjoying it and loving it in 5 days. Oh gosh, really? 5 days going so quickly. It's just amazing. So that in and of itself is like just building those relationships. So the Money Blocks Clearing Challenge is helping you with the vibrational, the energy of it. So we've got this vibrational money voucher for you. I've got the Bank 50K in 50 Days challenge, the Soul Income Game, which I'll walk you through in the Soul Legacy Academy. And I have homework for that and bonuses. And then Robin's challenge actually helps you. It's the first step on the journey, but it's that groundwork and that awareness and that allowing and seeing how financial freedom is impacting all of the areas in your life. It all bleeds. So we say the cheers to financial freedom frequency, cheers to financial freedom, because it's cheers, contribution, freedom, health, freedom, but it all leads to the road of financial freedom, right? So health, emotions, environment, relationship, spirituality, and finances make up the 7 freedoms I talk about. And so these areas need clearing. So this money voucher will help you to clear those blocks and heal your relationship with money. And then we get to do it in the physical. And if you have problems, challenges, issues being blocked, then Robin will help clear as the lead soul guided instructor for the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Network, which is beautiful. And so the money voucher, you get to spend it. You get to tie 10% to a worthy cause. My worthy cause is Cruise Bereavement Care. I dedicate my soul work to my son who made his transition. And so that's my worthy cause every single day, tied 10%. So you get 900 to spend, and then oh gosh, and then I don't know what I did with it. Oh wow. And then I can't even believe I've even talked for this long. And then you don't get to spend it on bills, because I want you to come from the vibration that your bills are already taken care of, done. And then you can bank it, but you can bank it, but you store it for the next day or the next day, and you have to spend it all by Sunday. So practice that. So I will share on Sunday what I spend my vibrational money voucher on. So I think that is it. I had like going through Robin's 5-day money blocks clearing challenge, I actually was nudged to look at LinkedIn for something, and then I saw a scratch card, like a money winning money, and I was like, and this woman said she was intuitively drawn to get one, and she'd never seen it before. It was all sevens on every single line. and it was a win on every single line. And I was like, I bought one of those the other day. I was in vibration. No, I was nudged to go and get one. I was like, where did I put it? It was about a week ago. Didn't even scratch it. Scratched it today, and it had all 5s on it. Didn't have a win, but it had like 120, and then it had 2 50s, 2 5,000s, 2 50,000s, and 2 150,000s. I was like, and then the extra bit was a five pound. It's pounds in my world. Oh, really? So yeah, so that was that. And then what I did was add up all of that money, and I made that my my financial freedom goal, because I thought I would just manage to do it. So I'm going to show you the card for today. Let me share with you this quote that I get from my Momentum app. It says, this is by Michelle Russell. It says, success hinges less on getting everything right than on how you handle getting things wrong. So I'll say that again. Success hinges less on getting everything right than on how you handle getting things wrong. So for when things go wrong, how do you handle it? Do you beat yourself up? You're like, oh no, this didn't work. It's trial and error. What you do when you build and grow your spiritual business, you know, things go wrong. So I had not planned to go out yesterday. I was about to do my insanity workout, my recovery for Thursday, and I ended up out and going over my calories, drinking alcohol, doing all of the things, getting up late, mouth's hurting now. And I didn't hardly do that much today. I did do some recordings that were productive. Didn't go out on my daily walk, did not do my insanity, did my fasting, and I wasn't going to do as many calories as I've done. It's like a 500 calorie day. It was like 600 and something. I'm like, oh, really? So it's how you handle them. So I pulled this card. Again, it's from Keepers of the Light by Carl Gray. It's called Joan of Arc, Voice of Truth. And it says, stand strong, focus on your purpose. Exactly. Don't get pushed and pulled by what somebody else is doing. That is none of your business. Release the fear of persecution and speak your truth. And that's why I've shared so much today, because it's just beautiful. I just think it's beautiful. I think the journey is beautiful. A soulmate relationship, soulmates, you know, soulmates for everything. It's just beautiful. So Joan of Arc was a medieval French peasant girl who is reported to have been visited by Archangel Michael and other saints who gave her information on how she could help Charles VII save France from English domination. She was only a teenager when she went into battle for her country and won a huge victory. I really need to just stop talking. She was nearly there. She was, however, later captured and burned at the stake. Like, even saying that, can you imagine? Even just saying that now, like how the world has changed, and we think that we've got it hard, right? These days, she is a supremely loving guide to all those who want to stand up against the odds. She also helps many light workers overcome their fear of persecution. You are being encouraged to stand strong, right? You are being encouraged to stand strong. You may feel unrecognized and misunderstood. Have you? Do you? But that doesn't mean you have to give up on your mission, on the mission you feel called to fulfill. Exactly. Exactly. You might follow the will of your soul and exercise your leadership spirit by speaking your truth. And that's it. When you build your spiritual business and you come onto YouTube, it doesn't matter. The views don't matter. I haven't even been sharing these out like on the socials or anything. I'm just showing up, really. You must follow. I will, and I plan to. I just haven't been as vigilant with it, because I'm doing recordings and stuff on the back end. You must follow your... Okay. You may feel as if you are on a battlefield, but this conflict will come to an end as soon as you stop defending yourself. Yeah, don't defend yourself. Like, it is what it is. You are not here to prove yourself to others. Instead, approve of yourself. Know that your angels are on your side and that heaven is thanking you for being the honest soul you are. How beautiful is that? And I'm sorry if I butchered it, and I literally feel like I've absolutely got a lisp. Oh, I love Relationship Freedom Friday. I really do. I think it's amazing. The Soul Legacy Journal is here supporting you. My spiritual rituals and routines it just feels like epic gold. So thank you again. Subscribe to the Soul Legacy TV if you haven't. Share this out. Invite a soul sister or a soul brother in. Come to the Spiritual Biz YouTubers Masterclass Bank 50K 50 Days Challenge. I will do it live on the last Monday of the month at 3 p.m. UK time. You can go sign up, get bonus gifts. I have my free chapter of my book, Spiritual YouTubers from Scratch, a soul-guided influencer's compass to leverage your light work and lifestyle on YouTube, free chapter. And along with that comes a group VIP day to start, grow and launch your spiritual business online with a spiritual book and business launch, because why would you not? Right, big love, and I shall see you on the next video, which is Spiritual Freedom Saturday. If you're in the Soul Legacy Academy, get on to the monthly call, and I will speak to you soon. Big love.